Let me give you three practical, easy ways to manage family conflict. Well, they're not necessarily easy, but they're very practical, easy to understand. Number one, get comfortable having difficult conversations. You want to manage some family conflict? Get comfortable having difficult conversations. Nothing will help you navigate through family conflict like finding the comfort of having a difficult conversation. Some of you think you have to be confrontational. You don't have to be confrontational. You don't have to be arrogant, rude, loud, mean. You don't have to be any of those things to have a difficult conversation. You have a difficult conversation with a calm tone, with centered emotions. But those of you that have conflict in your families and you're struggling with some level or some type of family conflict, when was the last time y'all had a serious, difficult conversation? And that conversation was respectful. People's voices were heard. There wasn't a bunch of screaming and yelling, people hanging up the phone, walking out. When was the last time you had a very difficult conversation like that? The truth is, and I appreciate many of you being honest, I'm looking at the comments and people are saying, never, doc, never. Like literally, it's never happened. Which means y'all ready, y'all? Those of you that are getting therapy, counseling, coaching, you're getting all of this stuff, you're working on yourself, and you're dealing with people in your family who don't like difficult conversations, but you're getting all of this work and you're being empowered with all of this work, and they're not doing anything because they could probably just die and be okay not having a difficult conversation. Go to the grave with the secrets, or go to the grave with the harshness, or go to the grave with the anger, or whatever it is they feel. They can go to the grave with that. But guess what? Here you are doing all this work. Guess what, y'all? I got some bad news. Since you're doing all of this work on yourself, you might end up being the one that has to lead the difficult conversations. Oh my God. And I know many of you don't like that. So that's what I'm saying to you. Many of you need to get comfortable being uncomfortable. It's going to start with you. You can't claim to be the bigger person in some things, but you ain't the bigger person in all things. You can't claim to be the boss in some things, but you're not the boss in all things. Now, listen, y'all, let's just be evolved and let's be smart. I try to give people the benefit of the doubt, though sometimes I wonder why I should. I give y'all the benefit of the doubt. It's obvious you can't have a conversation by yourself. So if you walk to a person in your family and you want to have a difficult conversation about some problems and conflict that y'all are having, and they refuse to talk, you can't make them talk. But let me tell you something that I've learned. When you make the effort and they don't respond, you find something that a therapist, counselor, coach can't give you. You know what it is? It's called peace. And some of you don't have no peace, not because they're not being responsive. You don't have no peace because you ain't tried. That was the best thing I said tonight. Some of you don't have no peace, not because they ain't being responsive. Some of you don't have any peace, not because they're not going to listen. Some of you don't have any peace, not because they won't answer the phone. Some of you don't have no peace because you ain't tried. Because let me tell you something. When you try and they don't respond, then your job then is to seek peace. Seek peace where, Doc? Right here. And listen, when you have tried and they have not responded, you got to shake the dust off your feet. Find peace and continue to grow forward. How do you handle it if they respond in an ugly manner? It's not about how they respond. It's not. You can't control their response. So if you attempt to make the effort and they don't respond in a favorable way, you cannot control that. Your job is to do what bigger people do. And that's your job. That's it. That's it. That's all. You're not responsible for how they respond. You're not responsible for if they go off. You're not responsible for if they snap at you. You're not responsible for none of that. How you started very much is contingent on the type of personality maybe you have, maybe the type of personality they have. I wish I could just give you a cookie cutter formula that goes across the board. But I'm telling y'all, we have to understand that we've got to be comfortable. You can't expect them to get comfortable with difficult conversations when they ain't doing no work. They ain't doing no work to grow. They ain't seeing no counselor, therapist, coach. They're not doing no inner work. They're not working on themselves mentally, emotionally, spiritually. They're not doing these things. You can't expect them to just come out and just say, oh, I want to have a hard conversation. No, it's going to start with you. Second practical way you can manage family conflict. Construct proper boundaries. And I'm going to give you two easy ways you can construct proper boundaries with family. You ready? Here's one way. Master the word no. Maybe y'all need to put that in all caps. Master the word no. Because some of you refuse to tell your family no. Why? Because it's family. I know people who have gone into hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt because of family. And they refuse to tell them no. Why? Because that's family. When you get good at saying no, that'll help with some of this family conflict. And I'm talking about saying no to your mama, to your daddy, to your brothers, sisters, and especially to your children. My kids, I know I get on their nerves. I can only imagine the stuff they say about me under their breath when they walk off. I can only imagine. And listen, I think I'm a decent dad. One of the reasons why I think I'm a decent dad is because my kids don't get everything. They get a lot of things. They're blessed. They have gotten more at their age than I was able to receive at their age from my parents. And my parents, I think, are the closest to perfect that exists. My parents did the best they could with what they had, and they continued to work hard and grew, and we grew with them. As the oldest of three, my brother and sister have to admit this. I don't know if they're watching. They have to admit I had it the hardest. I was oldest. My daddy was making, I know he don't mind me saying it, I think my daddy was making sound like an $8,000 a year contract when I was a baby. By the time my brother and sister got here, he was starting to move. He was rolling a little bit, working multiple jobs, doing his thing. They did the best they could. But my kids will tell you, they know every answer with me ain't a yes. See, a lot of you struggle to tell your grown kids no. You ready? Because you never told them no when they were kids. Y'all just let your kids do what they want to do. Talk to you any kind of way they want to talk to you. Handle you any kind of way they want to handle you. Say anything to you that they want to say, and y'all just let them do it. Because hey, that's my kid, and my kid has a voice. Okay, they can have a voice, but they don't have a voice to be disrespectful. So no, you got to master the word no, and that includes to your kids, whether they young kids or adult kids. For some of you, you have to tell your parents no. Some of you some of you have to tell your parents no. Y'all, I'll do that parenting. If y'all really want that kind of smoke, I'll do it. But I'm telling you, it's gonna be smoke. It's gonna be smoke, y'all, because we have to, as parents, we have to keep our foot on the basics. Yes, progress with the times. I have fun with my kids. Y'all, many of you have seen them on my stories. Y'all seen them on my stories. I have fun with my kids. I think one of the greatest compliments I always receive is, Zeb, you're a great dad. You're such a great dad. I love that. But in that same breath, my kids don't get everything they want. And when I tell them no, I teach them how to take no. You're not going to pout when I say no. You're going to fix your face after I tell you no. Oh my God, doc. Oh my gosh. I'm calling social services. Call them. But when I tell you no, you're going to take no well. Because if you don't take it well from me, you'll grow up having fits when people tell you no. So let me help you develop your temperament for the word no. So when you hear no, you still have a positive attitude. I know. We don't even believe in that kind of raising no more. Not at all. Y'all let folks say and do to y'all, your kids say and do to y'all what they want to do. So you got to master that. Here's the second way you can construct proper boundaries. I want everybody to put this in the comments. Y'all ready? Don't confuse invitations with obligations. Don't let family guilt trip you for not always being available. Some of you, your greatest form of conflict with your family is them being mad because you don't show up at every event, that you can't be present every time there's an event or activity, as if you don't work, as if you don't have obligations, as if you don't have a family to care for. And some of y'all are confusing invitations with obligations, which means just because you invited don't mean you have to be there. I have clients who talk about this, who talk about how they get blackballed by their family because they can't always make it to every outing. And their family goes out multiple times a week. And they're like, Doc, I'm an attorney. I got client cases. How am I going to go out 3-4 times a week? And they get guilt tripped by their families because their family members confuse invitations and obligations. They ain't the same. One of the things that I love about my parents, many things I love about my parents, but one thing I really love about my parents is that my parents know incredibly how hectic my schedule is. And even with their understanding, I've grown to a place as they're getting older. I've grown to a place where, and I talk to my kids about this all the time, where I say to them, daddy's got to do a good job of even just getting in the car and just randomly going down there and bringing them, loading them in the car. We randomly go down there, maybe a weekday. It doesn't always have to be a weekend. and go down there and just sit with them for a while. Maybe eat and just talk to them. Because when they have, a lot of times when they have events and things going on, they're in Virginia and they have events and things going on, I can't always make it. Not at all. And they've never guilt tripped me. They've always been like, Zeb, we understand you're doing so many great things. We're proud of you. They're so supportive. They're without a doubt such great support for me. Some of you aren't fortunate enough to come from those environments. Some of you get guilt tripped when you can't come to everything. You can't be in every place. It's not cool. Y'all, stop confusing invitations with obligations, because they ain't the same. You ain't gonna be able to make every family event, and you don't have to be rude about it. Y'all always invite me to something. Y'all always, you have to do all that. Listen, y'all, hey, I appreciate the invitation. Of course, I love my family. I just can't make it. I got a lot of projects going on right now. Maybe I can make the next one. Y'all just continue to keep me in. No, some of y'all got family members, they take you out the group chat. They start separate group chats. They take you out, start talking about you in the new one. Come on, y'all. Really good comment. I said really good comment on IG. A lot of African families would see it as pride. Meanwhile, you have things to do. I agree. A lot of this is cultural. Look at y'all. That's two easy ways where you can construct boundaries. Master the word, no. And don't confuse invitations with obligations. Third and practical way you can manage family conflict. Don't confuse obligations and responsibilities. I mean, it's duty versus requirement. Sometimes when it comes to your family, you have to ask yourself, is what I'm being asked to do a duty, meaning voluntary ownership of something, or requirement, mandatory ownership? They want me to be involved in this. Is this a duty or is this a requirement? They want me to respond to this. Is it a duty? Is it a requirement? When we can tell the difference, y'all, then it puts us at peace when we determine how we should respond moving forward. Because some things, as it relates to our family and just people in general, are things that are done or requested, or things that are done out of duty. Some things we will address, we will handle, we will be a part of, or out of duty. What's duty? That is voluntary ownership. When we voluntarily own a situation, voluntarily own an assignment, voluntarily own an action, voluntarily own a conflict, whatever it is. And some things that we deal with are requirements. Is this something I can choose to get in and something I can choose to own, or is this something that belongs to me? You got to know the difference. You got to know the difference between what you choose to own versus what belongs to you. That's your last note. Learn the difference between what you choose to own and what belongs to you. That's not just with family, y'all. That's in life. Like, my friend Denisha said that on TikTok. That's just not with family, y'all. That's in life. You got to learn the difference between what you choose to own and what belongs to you, because it ain't the same. Does that make sense, y'all? Okay? Learn the difference between what you choose to own and what belongs to you. I'm done. Did this make sense tonight?
Listen, y'all, I hope this made sense. If it did, I want you to type church in the comments with 3 R's. And then I want you to remember you've got 2 jobs. 1, be better today than what you were yesterday. And 2, don't forget what I told you.